this mortal, limited being, sukhi, dukhi, sometimes happy, sometimes moody, wanting person, seeking this and that. But, you are Tat, you are limitless, you are like the glory of the sun, you lack nothing, you are ever happy and peaceful. So discover your true nature. Now this is the statement of the Shruti. And what is the Guru doing now? Sadguru will remove this ajnanam in us and unfolding the nature of the Shruti Vakya. Yeah. So Pujya Swamiji would always say, what a big responsibility this is, For gurus there is no problem. It is all the vision of Brahma everywhere. But when the Shishya comes crying and, hurt and sorrowful, then the Guru has to step down and then come to the level of the Jiva and then elevate the Jiva, the Shishya, up to the vision. Yeah. So that is why it is said the Gurus, have a compassion which is ahetuka daya. Ahetuka means without a reason. There is no reason for a teacher to help us out, But because the Guru, takes up your standpoint and sees that there is somebody needing some insight, some jnana, okay, so let me help this person out. Otherwise, the Guru is whole and complete and doesn't need to do anything. So those are the compassionate Gurus that are giving this knowledge. Yeah. So that is all that we saw, these 3 stages of Sravanam, Mananam, Ndidhyaasanam, and the Shruti says that you are the ever free, ever fulfilled, ever secure Atma. Know that. Huh? Now a question may come to our minds that, why is it important to have self-knowledge? Yeah? Why should I go for self-knowledge? And the answer is, human being is the only species that is self-aware. Yeah? Self-aware, and that will ask these questions. What is the purpose of life? Why am I here? Where am I going? Yeah? So these aspirations are called existential inquiry. Yeah? Only a human being will have sorrow. Yeah? And all the other jivas, whether lower lokas or higher lokas, they will have only prarabdha karma, exhaustion. Yeah? So there is no self-awareness there. Yeah? So there is no aspiration for coming out of that state, for improving the lot. Yeah? And hence, endowed with the free will, the human beings will ask these questions sooner or later, either in this birth or next birth, if there is a next birth as a human being. And we don't know what embodiment we will take in the next birth. So it is better to pursue Atma Jnanam when there is the opportunity to do that. Okay? So that we saw. And Brahma aham asmiti vibhavyatam. May one meditate on the truth. I am Brahman. That is the Ndidhyaasanam, which I just told you. Then aharaha garva parityajyatam. I was saying how garva is an identification with this anitya body-mind. But it can also be taken as arrogance, no? So I wanted to add that dimension, that just because we are, pursuing Vedanta doesn't make us, better than the other, let's say the worldly person who's fulfilling his desire. He is doing what is dictating by his mind. So, without any feeling of superiority, let me continue this Atma Jnanam and not unsettle anyone else's mind. Yeah? But pursue this, and if anybody is open, I'm happy to share this knowledge. Yeah? Then the last line of verse 3 was Buddha Janaihi Vada Parityajyatam. May one not enter into Vada, arguments. Yeah? Because that will agitate the mind. So we are talking here about a mumukshu, a karma yogi, a serious seeker of moksha. So we want that inner tranquility and quality time, mental time. So I don't want to waste my time in arguments. Even if one is not a mumukshu, I think one should not do this. Enter into arguments, because it is just a waste of time and energy. Yeah? Now we come to maybe another question comes to my mind, that we hear a lot about Atma, Brahma, self-awareness. But what exactly is self-awareness? How to gain the self-awareness? Is there a technique? Is there a method? And the answer is yes. So the Shruti Shiras, that is the Upanishads, are filled with stories and also techniques. By technique we mean vidyas. No, vidyas is a technique how I can inquire and explore and arrive at this Atma Jnanam. So today I would like to share with you one such vidya or one such method which comes in the Taittiriya Upanishad. It is called Varuni Vidya, Bhrigu Varuni Vidya. Yeah? It is a story about a young rishi. The young rishi is called Bhrigu. Yeah? And he is the son of Varuna. So he is also called Varuni. So Varuni is the son, Varuna is the father. So this Bhrigu approaches his father and says, Father, you are always saying that, that you are Brahma, you are limitless. So I want to know the Brahma. So how can I gain that Brahma Jnanam? Now can you tell me how? So the father replies, Tapasa Brahma Vijijñāsasva. My dear son, you go and do some tapas. You do some self-inquiry and you will get the answer. So Bhrigu goes and does some meditations. Then after some time he returns. And he says, Father, I think I know the answer. Is it the body? Body is Brahma? Because I feel there is a very close connection to this body, Then the father says, no, my dear son, body is not Brahma. Go back and continue your tapas. Tapasao Brahma Vijijñāsasva, Taittiriya Upanishad, the story comes. Now, why is the body not me? Because the father doesn't explain. This is our dialogue. So, the body is not me because the body is an instrument which I use to transact with the world. It is a kshetram. When the body, there is a cold, then I have to protect the body by wearing warm clothes. Yeah? When the body, there is a sensation of hunger in the body, I feed it. Yeah? And when I have to go out to a special occasion, I dress it and do alankaram. So it is an object of change and it is an instrument. So I cannot be my instrument. So I am not the body. Anyway, Bhrigu returns back to the father and says, Father, I know. Is it prana? Prana is Brahma? Then the father says, no, my dear son. Tapaso Brahma Vijijñāsasva. Go and meditate some more. Do some self-inquiry. So again he sends back his son. Now again that means the prana is also not me. Prana means the vital energy. Right? So why is the prana not me? Because again it is an object of my observation. After a session in the gym, how do I feel? I should feel full of prana, or let's say yoga. I feel full of prana. Yeah? Then after a whole day in the office and coming through this heavy traffic, how do I feel? Prana is drained out. So sometimes the prana is blooming, sometimes it is very, very low. Yeah. So again, I cannot be the object of my observation. I am not the prana. Anyway, Bhrigu does some more meditation and comes back. He says, Father, now I really know. It's the mind, The mind is me, right? And this is how we all also thought, no? I think in a certain way, I feel the way. So the mind must be me. Then the father says, no, Brahma. Tapaso Brahma Vijijñāsasva. You have to continue some more tapas, my dear son, and sends him back. Now again the same logic applies, When the mind is anxious about tomorrow or regretful about the past, and somebody said something to me, so my mood is off, and I am able to observe the modifications of the mind. Yeah? And then I can use the mind also to do sadhana. So how can I be the object of my observation? So the mind is also an instrument. So I am not the mind. Then again Bhrigu comes back and he says, Father, this time I cannot be wrong. I am the buddhi, right? I am the intellect. Because it is the glory of the intellect. Somebody is awarded a Nobel Prize, or a Padma Shri. Because on the basis of their intellect, some discoveries, inventions are made. So that is, I am my intellect, right? Is that me? And the father says, no. No, tapaso brahma vijijñāsasva. So again we have seen in the Gita also, it is the intellect which governs the mind. So if the mind is like a child, intellect is what? The parent or the security. It will say, no, we should not do this now. No junk food. Yeah? And no cinema or Netflix. Let's go to satsanga or the Zoom class. So the intellect is the governing principle for the mind. And we can sharpen our intellect, or sometimes, when we can just let the intellect dim also. So again, the intellect can be observed. Yeah, so I cannot be the intellect. So we see all these things, the body, the mind, the intellect, the speech, the prana belongs to me, but I am distinct from all of them. Yeah. Then finally, again he has sent Bhrigu, and Bhrigu returns back to the father, Varunaha, and says, now father, is it Anandam, the causal body? That really that state of contentment and love and happiness. Then the father says, you are very close, But now ask yourself this question. Who is it that is experiencing the Anandam? Yeah. So who is the experiencer of that feeling of contentment or joy or bliss that you're talking about? Yeah. And then he doesn't send him back. He says, that is the source, that is the core essence, and that is the self that you truly are. So the whole Upanishads tell us about how we penetrate through the layers of one's personality and arrive at the core essence which enlivens all this apparatus. And then actually the Upanishad goes on to say that once the Bhrigu, discovers that source or the core personality, then he becomes Mahan, Annavan, he becomes great in terms of physical health, mental health, concentration, fame and glory comes to him. So which means that when we abide in the source, that self-awareness that illumines all the koshas, and all the koshas are brightening up. Then a jnani, when he looks at a book, like a Vivekananda, then he will just soak up all the knowledge because the mind is so clear and so luminous. And what one does in 10 hours can probably do it in 2 hours. So the glory of Atma Jnanam and how it polishes all the layers of the personality is described in Taittiriya Upanishad. But at the same time, what is the Jnanam here? I have the Panchakoshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, but I am Panchakoshatitaha. I am distinct and apart from all these koshas. Sometimes we give the example of, on a very cold day, we wear a vest, then a shirt, then a half sweater, then a full sweater, and an overcoat. Yeah, but I can remove all these layers of clothes. Yeah, so that core essence. So you see, this is one of the techniques or vidyas mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad, how to penetrate through the layers and arrive at the core essence. Yeah, so this is one of the vidyas. Yeah. So now with that third verse, we have completed the teaching also, and all the 4 ashramas are also over. So what is left in Sadhana Panchakam? One may wonder. Yeah? So what is left are 2 more verses, and they are about general guidelines on the lifestyle. Yeah? Now, if I am pursuing self-knowledge, but my regular life is full of mixed up priorities and turbulence, then there will be no alignment. Yeah. So in the next 2 verses, now Acharya Bhagavad Pada gives us the sadhanas, how to stay on this path and how, to make a conducive situation or environment for me to pursue the knowledge. Yeah. So that is what we are going to see now. And for that, I will unmute again and Lakshmi Garu can repeat after me. Are you able to unmute, Lakshmi Garu? Good. So let's see the fourth verse, and here we will have another 8 guidelines. Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam.
Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam.
Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam.
Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam.
Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Kshutvyaadhishcha chikitsyatam. Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam. Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam.
Vidivashat praptena santushyatam.
Vidivasat praptena santushyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam. Vidivashat praptena santushyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam. Vidivasat praptena santushyatam.
Shitoshnadi vishahyatam.
Shitoshnadi vishakshyatam.
Natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam.
Natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam.
Audasinyam abhipsyatam.
Audasinyam abhipsyatam.
Janakripa naishturyamutssrijyatam.
Janakripa naishturyamutssrijyatam.
Again. Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam. Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam. Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam. Vidivashat praptena santushyatam.
Svadharnam natu yachyatam. Vidivasat praptena santushyatam.
Shitoshnadi vishahyatam. Natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam.
Shitoshnadi vishakshyatam. Natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam.
Audasinyam abhipsyatam. Janakripa naishturyamutssrijyatam.
Audasinyam abhipsyatam. Janakripa naishturyamutssrijyatam.
Thank you. So here we find that Bhagavad-pada Adi Shankaracharya gives us some lifestyle tips, and meant for all, but especially for a sannyasi, a mumukshu and a karma yogi who is a serious seeker of moksha on this path. So what is the first guideline? Kshut vyadhihi cha chikitsatam. Kshud in Sanskrit means hunger, pasi, hunger. Kshud vyadhihi cha. So here Bhagavad-pada says hunger is likened to a disease. Hunger is not a disease, but like a disease, it is causing discomfort and pain. Every 3-4 hours, it is repetitive. It's a daily business. And so because it is a very fundamental sadhana, Shankaracharya deals with it. So how should we treat the disease like hunger? Chikitsa. What is a chikitsa? What is the treatment? Second line. Pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam. So treat the disease like hunger with the aushadham, medicine of bhiksha. Yeah? So these two lines in fact the first two lines, that is 4 guidelines, are on food only in the 4th verse. No? That word disease is dis-ease, right? So hunger is that which puts us out of ease. So it's a dis-ease. Yeah. And how to treat this hunger? Yeah, pratidinam, every day, treat it with the medicine, aushadham of bhiksha. Not food, but bhiksha. Yeah. So first we'll come to the word aushadham. No, in the Taittiriya Upanishad only, there is the mantras. Tasmat etasmat akashah sambhutah akashat vayuhu vayor agnihi agnir apah adbhyav prithvi prithivyaha oshadhayah oshadhibhyo annam annat purushah. So this Annamaya Kosha is a modification of food, and that food comes from the Oshadhi, the plant kingdom. So rule number 1 definitely is be a vegetarian, says the Taittiriya Upanishad. Yeah? So treat the disease called hunger with the medicine, aushadham of bhiksha. Now, bhiksha means that which is given, no? Or that which is received, like naivedyam. We all offer naivedyam to Bhagavan, and then only we have our meals, or we do a prayer, offering it to Bhagavan, and then we receive the prasadam. And that is called bhiksha. Yeah? Some of us had been a couple of years ago to Rishikesh, So there one has the opportunity to do what is called a sadhu bhandara. Yeah? Sadhu bhandara means, you tell the ashram that we would like to organize bhiksha. Bhiksha means quite a good feast, puri, chole and all that, for maybe 50, 60 sadhus. And the sadhus are, parivrajakas. They don't have a home or regular income or anything. So they all sit and then one serves them. Yeah, one serves them and then later on gives dakshina to them. So this is a great punya karma which some of us had the great opportunity to do in Rishikesh in our ashram. This is called sadhu bhandara. So the sadhus receive bhiksha. Yeah? And then they will bless the giver. So many hosts with their families, they all go to Rishikesh or Punya Sthalam just to offer bhiksha to the sadhus. It's considered great punya karma. But here it is talking on an individual level. Yeah? So may one, have bhiksha. Yeah? Bhiksha is after offering to Bhagavan, may one take that bhiksha, and that is how the hunger disease is to be cured. Now in Bharat we have a whole culture about food, is it not? We eat following the solar rhythms, and we have to cook it properly, eat at a proper time, eat mindfully, prayerfully. Yeah? And just like any medicine, the food also has a certain dosage. Now just because a cough syrup is sweet, can I empty the whole bottle? So like that, the food has to be eaten in a very measured way. Yeah? So there are all these rules. When to eat, how much to eat, what to eat, and all this is to be found in the Indian cuisine, which is praised all over the world. Yeah. Now in France, for example, it's more of an entertainment. People will eat for 3-4 hours, and end it with red wine and all that. It's a very different culture. Or in America, food will be coupled with business deals, But in Bharat, still the tradition is there. Food is, offering bhiksha to the Vaishvanaro Agni in the stomach, to the Devata, and we do it in a prayer. And also just the eating a meal can be a meditation in itself. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhinam. Annapurne sadapurne shankara pranavallabhe jnana vairagya siddhyartam bhikshan dehi cha parvati. So Annapurneshwari, she gives bhiksha, to Shiva. So this shloka says, through this bhiksha, may my vairagyam and jnanam increase. Yeah, so that is the power of bhiksha, recommended for a sadhu here, or a mumukshu. Yeah. Now, how much to eat? What is the dosage? There is a shloka. Yeah. So the shloka is Purayet Ashanena Ardham. Yeah. Tritiyam Udakena Tu. Vayu Sancharanarthaya Chaturtham Avasheshayet. There is a shloka which says Purayet Ashanena Ardham. Fill only half the stomach with solids. No? Then Tritiyam, the third quarter, with liquids. Rasam, Payasam, Takram, Majjika, all this. Then the fourth, what do we do with the fourth? Avasheshayet. Leave it blank. Leave it empty. What for? Vayu Sancharanarthaya, for the movement of the pranavayu to digest. Now, somebody may ask, how to know, when to stop? How to know that one quarter is to be left blank means when you go for a second helping, that is the mind. The mind wants to enjoy a second helping and you tell it, no. Chaturtham avasheshayet. Leave the fourth quarter alone. And of course, our body also gives a signal, right, when it is full. But then the mind wants to have more. This is called binging or emotional eating. Yeah. So here for mumukshu, it's very important that the food intake is controlled. That's why it is said, the one who eats 2 meals a day is a yogi. 3 meals is a rogi, is a bhogi. 4 meals is a rogi. And 5 meals is a drohi. Drohi, because if we really indulge and eat, and live to eat, then we are depriving somebody else of their share. So that becomes a droham, no? So that is the guidelines, So many guidelines just on food. Yeah. Then we have the next one. Swadvannam natu yachitam. Swadu annam natu yachitam. May one not demand delicious, tasty food. Mysore pak, chole bhatura, matar paneer. Winter is a time when we go for more of these delicious things, and then the body begins to store the fat also. So, swadu annam natu yachitam. Yeah? This is connected with the previous 2 lines, that may one not satisfy the cravings of the tongue. Swami Shivananda says, if we can control the taste, the jnana indriyam, taste, then half the battle is won. It's perhaps the most important, indriyam, sense organ to master, right? Because it's connected with so many things, with the home, comfort zone, with our childhood. So many memories are there. But for a mumukshu, swadu annam natu yachyatam. Then vidhivashat praptena santushyatam. Vidhi. What is vidhi? Prarabdha karma. So the prarabdha karma that is allotted for this birth is prak arabdaha, has already begun. When did it begin? At my birth. So at birth we all get a package. We are born with a package, and that is the vidhi, prarabdha karma. So then, as per the prarabdha karma, you will get whatever has to come to you. That is what this means. Vidhivashat praptena santushyatam. May one be contented and happy with what comes to one, instead of running and chasing that. Especially food. In Hindi they say, Dane dane par likha hai khane wale ka naam. Every grain that comes to your plate, it is destined for you. Yeah. So, now why is this rule there? Because the prarabdha karma includes the longevity, all the situations and experiences the body has to go through in one life. Without food, how can this be possible? So food has to come to us, yeah, for the duration of prarabdha karma. So, once when I was in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai, I said, let me test this, whether food comes to me. So when the ashram bell rang, then I did not go for, food. So I went up the Arunachala hill and went into a cave, and I just was doing some japam. Yeah. Then when Brahmacharya comes and he says, Mataji, meal, lunchtime is over, you had your lunch? I said, no, I don't want. Today I'm skipping. He said, how can that be, Mataji? Look at my tiffin carrier. It is so big, and please, you have to share it with me. And he would not agree. He made me sit beside him and then shared the meal with both of us. I had to share. There was quite a bit there. So what this really means is that the body has to continue. Body is like an arrow which is already shot, and it has to reach its destination and cover the distance. So for that we need the energy from food. So vidivashat praptena santushyatam. May one not be anxious. Where will the food come from? It will come. If not 1 day, 2 day, 3rd day, definitely it will come. And that is what this is about. So you see these two lines, Kshut vyadihi cha chikitsyata. May one treat the hunger disease with the attitude of bhiksha, which is the medicine, aushadam. May one not demand tasty food. Yeah. For a mumukshu also, tasty food will be a distraction. You have to procure all the materials and then make it. And then, vidivashat praptena santushitam. Whatever is available, whatever comes to us, may one happily have it. So basically it is eat to live and not live to eat. Yeah. Let's see the other half of the shloka. Shitoshnadi vishahyatam. Shita ushna adi vishahyatam. This is very familiar to us. Shita is cold, ushna is heat. So may one have titiksha, may one endure the pairs of opposites. Yeah, so the world, is a relative plane of polarities. There is birth, death, heat, cold, praise, blame, separation, union, gain, loss, profit, loss, success, defeat. These are just like two sides of the coin. You cannot have one without the other. If you want only pleasure, then we better be ready for pain. Yeah? And if you want only cold weather, not possible. So what I do, Shita, Ushna, Adi, etc. Vishahyatam. I will try to bear it. Cheerful acceptance of the pairs of opposite without complaint. In other words, titiksha is a very important value for a mumukshu. Yeah? We have seen this in the Gita also. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau yogaha samatvam uchyate. If I want a steady mind, I want to practice samatvam, equanimity, in the face of the opposites. Yeah? Then we have Natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam. Vritha means a waste or idle. So let us not indulge in idle talk like gossip mongering, and just idle talk or redundant speech, talking the same thing over and over again. Samucharyatam na. May one not engage in wasteful talk. When we used to join the long-term course, the Vedanta course in the Gurukulams, the first talk about Puja Swamiji will be that please understand what you are here for. Yeah, we are here for Atma Jnanam, we will say. Answer is simple. Then what are you doing? Oh, Swamiji, no dosa, no idli chutney, and the room is not proper, it's not being cleaned properly, and then we have too many classes, complaints will start, for the first few months. So Swamiji will say, this is the ground for you to develop titiksha, and especially in the food. The kitchen was quite a disaster in the ashrams, because when you have people from so many different countries, each person will want their cuisine, and you feel at home, with a certain kind of food. And Swamiji said, you all better get used to khichdi and dal. Yeah, because the simpler the food, the greater will be your concentration. Yeah. Then of course, we did have a pizza on Saturdays, and because some of the foreign students would go and venture into pasta making and all that. So here the idea is that may one not waste the valuable time in criticism, arguments, idle gossip, and talking about the personal lives of others, where there is nothing to gain. And hence we have this beautiful subhashitam, no? Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, satyam apriyam na bruyat, priyanchananritam bruyat, eshaha dharmaha sanatanaha. Yeah? So whatever I am going to speak, may one check. Is it satyam, the truth? Is it something that I have to express, satyam? Then, okay, past. Is it hitam? Is it beneficial, going to be beneficial to the listener? Okay. Then is it priyam? Is it pleasing? Yeah. So what I have to say should be satyam, hitam, priyam. The truth, beneficial and pleasing. Yeah. If I say the truth, but in a manner that's hurtful, if I say, you bought a new dress, I don't think it looks good on you. I mean, that may be your opinion, but if we express it, how will it be received? So at that moment, Satya may be just to keep silence, right? You keep your opinion, but you don't express it. So Maunam is sometimes the best sadhanam. Yeah. So this is called the 3-filter test. Eshaha dharmaha sanatanaha natu vritha vakyam sama karnyatam. So the measured speech, So here Shankaracharya talks about damaha. This is damaha. Remember we saw shama, dama. Damaha means at the level of the senses I practice mastery. So if my speech is satyam, priyam, hitam, that will lead to shamaha, the mastery at the thought level. See how they're linked. So damaha, external sense mastery, gives me shamaha. Yeah? And hence we have to practice this vak tapas. Yeah? Like they say, I would rather be quiet and thought to be a fool than speak out and remove all doubt. So it is better to be quiet and let people have their opinions. Right? So that is the last guideline. Then audasinyam abhipsyatam. Audasinyam means udasinasya bhavana. Udasina does not mean udas in Hindi. In Hindi, udas means sad. Who will pursue something which will make us sad? So, audasinya means neutral, impartial, not taking sides. Yeah? So, for a mumukshu and a karma yogi, we don't want to take sides. Why? Because everybody is right from his or her point of view. There is no black and white. Nobody is absolutely wrong or absolutely right. Yeah. So I don't want to get entangled unnecessarily in being the middle party, And so I practice audasinyam. Yeah, do not take sides. And that means having this equanimity. Yeah. Then the last one is janakripa naishturyam utsrijyatam. Yeah, this is a very important one. Janakripa. Kripa means compassion, of course, but here it means praise. Yeah. Janakripa. Sometimes we see in the world what happens. People will praise us. They will like our post, and they will comment on the whatever I have sent in WhatsApp positively. Wow, beautiful photo and post Jana Kripa. Yeah? But then at other times there is Jana Naishturyam. There is hostility. Suddenly for no reason, then people will criticize and say, oh, this was not good, that was not good, why are you like this? So Jana Kripa is also there. Praise, Prashansa, and Jana Naishturyam. Yeah? Hostility or criticism. Then what should we do? Utsrajyatam. Be indifferent to both. Yeah? So if I receive the Prashansa, obviously, it will make the ego very happy, right? The ego will be very pleased, and then we'll pull up our collar. But then what happens? The next time I will be addicted. I will say, oh, why did this person not praise me this time? The person may be busy, doing something else, or the person may not like. So the idea is not to give the remote control of our happiness in the hands of the world. Yeah, to be audasina, audasinam in case of both. Swamiji will say, do not internalize, neither praise nor criticism. There was a statement by Puja Swamiji, give people the freedom to be who and what they are. To the extent you give freedom to people, to that extent you are free. So the mumukshu wants freedom from sorrow, freedom from pain. So discovers the inner freedom by giving the world freedom. Okay, you do whatever you want, but I am not going to internalize or be affected by it. So this simply means do not be either flattered or flattened. So Swamiji will say, this kind of emotional dependence on others for approval, they have to approve me, like me, share my post or subscribe to me. This is samsara, emotional dependence. Yeah? So instead of that, why can't you approve yourself? You validate yourself. Yeah? Or have satsanga. So the basic idea is to be free from public judgment. Why? Because everybody is judging as per their mind. We are all looking at the world through the goggles and lens of my mind. Yeah? If my mind is positive and happy, then there will be a very friendly conversation on that day. But if the mind is upset and low and moody, then I am going to analyze the world also in a negative way. Yeah? So this is both ways. The mumukshu wants to practice audasinyam. Yeah? That is not internalizing and remaining at peace inside. Because the person is a mumukshu. Yeah? So we see that here we saw 8 guidelines, and all these guidelines help us in giving me that inner tranquility and quality time to pursue Atma Jnanam. Remember the verse 3, we saw the stages of Jnana Yoga. Sravanam, Mananam, Ndidhyaasanam. And if I want to do it consistently and systematically, then I should have the sacred space without any too much external turbulence and interference. Yeah? So I am aligning all my priorities like food, speech, conduct, interaction with the world, and these are those 8 guidelines in the verse 4th. Kshut vyadischa chikitsatam pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. May one treat the disease like hunger with the proper attitude, giving it bhiksha, the right amount at the right time, with the right attitude. Svadharmas natu yachatam. May one not demand delicious food. Vidivashat praptena santushitam. And be content with whatever is obtained as per my prarabdha karma. Yeah? Then shitoshnadi vishahyatam. May one have titiksha or the balance, composure to face the pairs of opposites. You know? Titiksha is a very important quality for Atma Jnanam. Then, natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam. May one not waste this valuable time in idle gossiping or a wasteful expression of energy. You know, it is said that Saraswati Devi is on the tip of the tongue. So when we use slang words or angry words or harmful words, we are insulting Devi, Saraswati. Yeah. So this is something we tell our children, you know, and they immediately are alert. They say, oh, you know, we can't afford to antagonize Devi. So they will use nice, sweet words. So, natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam. Then, audasinyam. Udasinasya bhavam is, may one be neutral. Neutral in the world. Yeah, neutral in the world. And not demand public approval or validation. Yeah. And also when we see, you know, we will get what one deserves, you know. Sometimes it will be approval or praise, and other times it will be criticism. Both go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So let us be an impartial, neutral witness to both. Yeah? What both Janakripa, no, to the public who is showing sympathy and compassion and prashansa, yeah, and also when they do the opposite, when they criticize. Now we have to appreciate that these guidelines are for a mumukshu, not for an ordinary person in the world. Yeah? The karmi, the ordinary person, is fulfilling his desires. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah? But then the karmi has become a karma yogi now. And a karma yogi is already fulfilled with that inner fruits of spiritual growth, and he or she is very aware that you're marching on the road to moksha, and whatever else happens to the body and to the mind and in the world is secondary. But my goal is clear. Yeah? So these 8 guidelines are for this mumuksha. Yeah? Very simple. And then the last verse also is similar, you know, on how to meditate and how to, you know, make all the sink in deeper. No? We see that the mind, manaha eva karanam bandha mokshayoho. The mind is the instrument to lift up and to pull us down also. So these guidelines are going to make the mind very, very strong. Come what may. You know, you see all these great people who have climbed the corporate ladder also. You know, they must have undergone so much criticism. Like a Sudha Murthy, you know, they all are so great in their fields, professionally also. And yet they had an armor, you know. They developed so much mental strength, you know, to be impervious to public criticism. So how much more we have to do as a mumukshu, you know. That is the idea here. So I'll just chant it one more time and then we will end with the mantras. Kshutvyaadishcha chikitsyatam pratidinam bhikshaushad